What's going on, guys? Back after a long hiatus, maybe not long, and taking down the last video because fuck, the audio is bad, and I think I fixed it this time. I think I figured it out. I am not an audio expert by any means, and I probably never will be. Just like editing, it bores me. But here we are. I wanted to come back to GrapheneOS and travel. You know, my thoughts, what I think from reading some good books out there, thinking, looking on the internet and seeing it from a perspective. Because who doesn't like to travel? And unfortunately, if you travel you to another country besides the U.S., kind of, when you travel to a different country where you're not a citizen, you have little to zero rights. So I think when you leave the country, first and foremost, bring little as possible, in perspective that can maybe get you in trouble or not. And also from a security standpoint and privacy and financial standpoint, you don't want to lose maybe your $800+ phone. Don't want to lose your money, your identity, access to your apps if you don't have a good secure PIN, etc., etc., etc. Tons of very well-known oopsie daisies that could happen when you bring certain products. Now, why I think GrapheneOS is one of the more based solutions to go with is because we all know you have more control. You have also different user profiles. Now, in Michael Basil's book, Extreme Privacy, he talks about this, traveling with a device. I think he doesn't really prefer it. He just gets burner phones, cleans all of his devices, and then heads over and restores what he needs, from what I remember from the book. That is completely fine, but, not everybody can do that, and that is the point of his book, Extreme Privacy. He's going to the extreme end, which makes sense. Now, I think that GrapheneOS has some good mitigations that allow you to have better privacy. First off, you get pin scrambling. That's pretty awesome. So it's very difficult for people to shoulder surf you, put your pin in, and then they have access to it. You could do biometrics, or PIN. They both have their pros and cons. I think you should have them regardless. But pin scrambling gives you just a little extra of annoyance, is what I would say. In public, you should maybe just use your fingerprint if you can, your biometrics, because then less obvious. Or you can just go and do a very complex PIN, hopefully, and also do it on your SIM card if you can. That is my first, initial process. Another big feature is multiple profiles. I would say the perfect setup is a fresh profile with no information, no apps, no nothing on it. Because when you're crossing the border, they don't know. And I would put it on reboot every 24 hours while you're out of country, because it will reboot then to the main user profile that requires the PIN in order to access it, and it is somewhat of a security feature. Just perspective. You have over 32. You have 31 guests instead of 4. You have 31. You can make 31 guests, which is kind of awesome. More secure fingerprint after 5 tail attempts, and then I would absolutely put this on your phone. It is one of their apps This is just how I would do it if I can find it. It is the graphene. I'm gonna spell that all wrong. No. Nope. I'll probably cut this out, hopefully. So, beep boop. Their apps is they have some pretty good app. They have an app that I use that essentially forces it forces administration on there in order for it to work. And essentially, you set it up, and after you set it up, it it has an amount of attempts to log it to fail. If it fails, it will wipe the device, which can be a good thing or a bad thing if you fuck up. And I think that we Century. So pretty much what this does is it'll wipe your device after so many pretty much so many wipes, like after so many failed attempts. I mean, I would set up a new user profile while I'm crossing, while I'm in public, whatever. Have my important documents. Maybe in a later moment, I'm gonna go over that. Have some important documents. Pretty much, I'm an encrypted USB drive, like stuff that I have access to, and then separate stuff that I don't care if people have access to or maybe prefer to. From a phone wise, I think GrapheneOS giving me the multi-user, the reboot, Sentry. I'm probably saying it wrong because I'm dumb, and that gives me a security standpoint, and then disallowing network access to certain apps. Maybe you don't want access to like public Wi-Fi while you're over there, or if you have to buy a SIM card. Depending on your mobile carrier provider, some offer, hey, use a service while you're over there, doesn't cost anything, etc., etc. Moving on to the higher end perspective, I would get an encrypted drive and put anything that I maybe am carrying over there. Say I need some stuff. Say I need certain documents. Say I need my password. I don't want to have my password vault on my phone. Say I want to have a copy of it on my device. You have two options really, and you just need you just need your password, so you have it in an encrypted vault on one of these devices. I don't know how good the Kingston is. I think you could just do Veracrypt. That would be relatively the smartest way to go. Instead of carrying around, everything on your phone. I think the separation is definitely warranted. Now, this might look a little sus. You could just put a regular thumb drive, encrypt it with Veracrypt, or with PicoCrypt, which is very portable. And it's right here. PicoCrypt is super awesome. It's small, it's simple, it's secure. It hasn't been audited, but it uses pretty well-known encryption. They didn't make their own encryption. It's pretty awesome. It has some good portability and deniability. Pretty much portability and some form of deniability. Yeah, you can do deniability. I mean, perspective. Second phone, if you want to go dumb, punk it. Because like I would only bring like on the user profile, I only have a few apps. I would have organic maps, so I could get around without having to use Gmaps or whatever or blah blah blah. Use data because it works completely offline, and then maybe some language. There's some local language translation apps if you're in like a country and you need to kind of like figure stuff out. That's perspective. Punkit is and then like Signal and Session and all that. Punkit's pretty based. It's a very simple phone. It's connection in the digital age. Whatever. It's made in Germany. It's simple. It's kind of expensive, but it uses Pigeon, which uses the Signal protocol. I just think that it's a simple phone. You could use a regular phone, but Signal, I think it's better to have encryption. If you want like a really minimalist phone, simple, kind of expensive for what it is, $379. I don't know I don't know if it needs software updates. I'm not entirely sure. Haven't really looked into it. But the fact that it uses Signal is based. It's very simple. It's very chill. It's very nice. It's very cool. I think it does it's nice. It looks like a calculator. I just think that those would be your best two options, only because this supports Signal. And, relatively, that's going to be the better option. Yeah, and then you have PicoCrypt. I would combine that with any hard drive. Now, I would actually, on the same drive, I would actually carry like a digital version of my passport, emergency contacts, like not my full contacts, but emergency contacts, and maybe some information that is important in case I get injured, I get, murdered, or I lose my shit, I get robbed, whatever I think this is something that people don't think about. I think you should have digital forms of a lot of stuff just in case an oopsies or a daisy or fire happens, because imagine if, God fucking forbid, you like get robbed and you lose everything, and now you're in a country with no passport, no identity, and maybe no one speaks English, and then you're gonna be fucked. And then you have a lot of questions, and because you have no rights. I'm not a lawyer, but you have no rights anywhere outside of generally your own country. So I think it's relatively better to always be safer than sorry. Carry that on you. In my opinion, this based ass belt. This is how I would go. I would get this belt. And this is going based on like the privacy security theme perspective of my thoughts on travel. Obviously GrapheneOS, amazing. Definitely, I would say out of any phone, bring that. Don't bring any phone personally if you can. But if you want to take your pictures and, be real. I'm being realistic. Be real. Yo, be real. I need to just address that people are normal. And they, like, when they leave their house, they're like, I'm going to bring my phone. I'm going to bring this. I would get this belt. Put your money in there. Put your flash drive in there. And then just never forget that. Hopefully you don't forget that belt. But if you do, the stuff that is important is an encrypted vault. And the stuff that's not important and you need to be found, it's there. And then the odds, people get pickpocketed all the fucking time, apparently. Apparently it's a normal thing. So these aren't really expensive either. It's kind of awesome. If I brought my laptop and I had to bring my laptop, I'd use Qubes. No question. I just put Qubes on my laptop, finally, because now I have enough RAM. Fucking, man, I don't even think, I maxed out at like 16 gigs. I wanted 32, but, fuck me. I think Qubes would be probably the most reasonable to use in like any like insane spot. Now, you could go the extreme route, wipe this entire instance of Qubes, upload everything, in my opinion, to Proton Drive. Because if you go to Proton Drive, they're relatively, based. They're end-to-end encrypted. If you already have it, awesome, use it. You could upload everything that's important, log in through Qubes, through Tor if you want. You could even use Unix. Download everything to your Qubes laptop, and then it's clean. That might be extreme. Like I said, I would just use Qubes with, if you can, with core boot, and make sure that you have trusted platform module enabled. Not super. I'm just learning about this. It's pretty cool. It's pretty much the international standard for secure crypto processor, dedicated market control designed to secure hardware through integrated cryptographic keys. I think you can buy these as well, like separate ones. If I'm not mistaken, Raspberry Pi for Pi, and like there's laptops that companies that pretty much explain how to do it. It's cool. I'll definitely read more about it. Because I believe it's supposed to help against the evil maid attack, mitigate against it, and then secure BIOS and make sure that you put a password and you you encrypt the drive, put a password. I understand the $5 wrench method fucking exists, but it's better to encrypt everything and someone find it and not get into it than getting the shit kicked out of you and then being forced to do it. I mean, there's levels. I think my general fear is me losing it, getting robbed, and then someone finding it, more or less. Then run core boot, free and open source software on the BIOS level, which is based. That's how I would get it. That's how I would set it up. Core boot, laptop, not a hard sell right there. If you did bring your laptop, but you got to also again be careful because you have almost like zero rights at the border, and you have zero rights in general. When you leave your country. So, people can bring out anything they want and say what they want, but you're in a different country. So, I don't think that should stop you from traveling. It's, still fun. Or you can go full schizoid mode. Qubes is like tinfoil hat schizoid mode. This is full schiz. Like, you're definitely, you're based, and you wear, you tell everyone you use Arch in public, and they're like, someone tell this guy to leave. I would use, if I was like full skits, like if I went to like a country where I was like, I probably shouldn't bring anything. I should just bring a flip phone, and then Tails if I'm bringing my laptop, because Tails is awesome. It's Amnesic by nature, or you can use the even more cooler version, a more based, just as based as version. They're both based, is Prestium. I can't get Prestium. I can't get onto his domain. I don't know if I hope he didn't abandon the project, because it's really cool, and I still run it. I would personally use Tails with a cheap laptop, maybe like a Chromebook, something you don't care about, because it can run on very minimal hardware. And if you need persistent storage, there you go. And then you can go in and watch all your legally obtained content on the internet while you're out there. It would be cooler if more, I guess, like more laptops came with DVD burners built in. Obviously they'd be thick or with two C's, but I would prefer it because, like, if you do travel and you want to run Tails, or like you just like want to watch movies, it might be even more based. I don't really know how Tails works with DVDs personally. I've never tried it because I haven't had a laptop that my very old laptop that had like 4 gigs of RAM, that was a piece of shit, that I bought from Wally World fucking forever ago, that got me into Linux, actually, because Windows ran so slow and I wanted to kill myself. I ended up putting Linux on it, falling in love with it. I got injected by the FOSS pill, blah, blah, blah. Whatever, side rant. Because I hate editing. I think if you're going to travel, the best thing you can do is, I would personally just wipe all my devices before I went somewhere, because I have so many good backups that it doesn't really matter. and then I would cross the border with a new profile. Maybe even like just go to another profile, set that up, enforce like maybe 72 hours reboot so that it doesn't do it by accident, like before I get off the plane, and blah blah blah. And then, you know, download everything while I'm over there and have access to whatever I need. Take my pictures of the mountains, you know, do the robot, whatever. I just think that this is something always like as a second thought when people like go to other countries. I'm more thinking about the security side because the pin scrambling, the forced reboot, and the SIM pin is definitely a way better setup, and it's so simple once you get used to it that I don't really see why you shouldn't do it. You know, I think GrapheneOS gives you also a little bit more control in perspective when it comes to what has network access and what doesn't. And relatively, when you're again in another country and you don't understand their laws, you might connect to a network that's not encrypted, and who knows what information that they might get off of you or steal, and you might look sussy-wussy. I just think that the best way to mitigate everything is to not only encrypt it, but mitigate and separate and what the fuck's the word? You know, like where you you separate everything. Compartmentalize? I can't say the word. I don't know. It's big dumb moment. I just think that it's better to I can't say the word. I'm gonna cut this out anyways. But I think that it's better to sit there and separate everything and have little boxes so that it keep better track, and relatively you also have better security and privacy. Now, everything is with a scale and a grain of salt. I just think because I like to travel that it's better to lose maybe a little bit of information and not all your information. And this is like a pro tip moment, like quit posting on the internet while you're on vacation. Like where you're at. It is so dumb. Do it a week. I think you should wait weeks or at least a week way after, and then post. Don't even tell people you left, because then that leaves your house vulnerable. It leaves you vulnerable. That leaves, like, you could be in a country where someone's like, oh man, this looks like he's got money, we're gonna fucking stab him. Because you don't know what information that you could be leaking just in the background. I think one of the best things you can do is just not leak your information. Just post all your fun, cool, sick pictures like a week after you get home, so that you're home, you had a good time, you went on vacation. People might be like, oh man, he's on vacation now. Nah, man, that was a week ago, dummy. You thought. And then just physical security, in general, is, dress poor. Look like you don't got money, especially when you're going out, Be self-aware. And then same thing with your digital. Put a password, encrypt with Luke's, yeah. That's just like my thought and just my perspective why I think GrapheneOS and Qubes and even Tails is the most based way to travel. I will catch you guys in another video. Bye.